שאלה אם אנגלית או עברית, זאת שאלה. אם זה לא אנגלית, אני לא מסתכלת בכל. אני גם, אני בדיוק אנגלית. כן. יש מצב שלך. אני חושבת, סבבה. אבל משהו. שלום.
Good afternoon. Like to start. By the way, next lesson is going to be after Passover, meaning May 7.
Oh, כן.
אז איך עם אמיר 60?
טוב, אין לי 30. 30. לא, 30 אין שיעור, זה טעות.
נכון.
30, I assume that you celebrate the Mimuna.
There was a confusion around the 30, but as far as I know, and Abigail is going to send a letter, there is no class on the 30. This is why I said there are 12 and not 30. Okay. The topic for today is text analytics. I'm going to cover first the subject that is going to be my way to demonstrate this. And this is, again, for the cyber world, cyber influence operations. And then I'm going to speak about what is text analytics. I'm going to speak about quite a lot of possibilities for text analytics applications. And finally, I'm going to focus on one of them, which is called sentiment analysis. So the topic that I'm going to focus for the text, and also when I'm going to speak about link analysis, is influence operation. Influence operation is a big thing nowadays when we speak about relations or conflicts between states. Let's first try to define this. It's an organized attempt to achieve a specific effect by affecting the decision-making, beliefs, and opinions of some target audience. There are other terms that people use for the same thing, and some of them we call this psychological operation or PSYOPs. This is the American term. Information operation, English many times use this one. Some people will call it information warfare. Now, it's a bit confusing because information operation and information warfare sometimes refer to cyber operation, not necessarily influence operation, but that's like. This is not a new thing. Influence operation began a while ago. A very good example for this is the story about the city of Jericho. Either if you believe in the Bible or not, it doesn't matter at all. It's a story that says something. And this is an influence operation. Think of it. You wake up one morning and you see thousands of people circle around your city with horns and other stuff. All they wish is you dead. Not the best way to start your morning. this is an influence operation, and this is probably the reason that it was done. But there are other possibilities for influence, not necessarily for crowded. If in the Middle Ages, in the Mid-East, there were some people that, or some women usually, that somebody thought that they're not great. So all they need to do, spread rumors that this lady is a witch, and the rest will follow. Okay, this is an influence operation. Okay, and I can tell you a story about this in the modern age. After the Second World War, it is known in many European countries, France, Belgium, etc., neighbors that they have some conflicts with the neighbor. All they had to say that they were joining the Nazis, etc., and they were murdered. There are plenty of stories like this. So if you have somebody or some neighbor that you don't like, just wait for the next war, spread the rumors, and problem will be dealt. Okay? So influence operations are not new. However, when we speak about cyber influence operation, of course, they came with cyber. So nowadays, when we speak about those type of operations, some of them go hand in hand with cyber tools, either CNE and CNA, exploitation and attack. For instance, to do a huge cyber attack or defacing a lot of websites, it's an influence operation. Okay, the whole thing is about trying to influence the other part, the other country. And of course, using cyberspace, usually social media, but not only, it could be other manners, and both, okay? I'm going to give you some examples of this, but let's first define also the term, which is called fake news. Fake news is deliberate disinformation or hoaxes spread via traditional news media or social media. Again, fake news is not new. I believe that the second sentence that was said on Earth probably was fake. So, but nowadays we have a term for this, and this is called fake news. Some examples of what I'm speaking about. Probably you all heard about the election campaigns, 2060, Clinton, Trump. Also, 1 year later, it was in France, the same thing. In both cases, there were Russian influence campaign involved that were using both cyber tools and cyber media, meaning on web social networks. But I would like to speak further about those three. This is very interesting stuff because it started before the coronavirus spread, and then the issue of COVID was joined to this campaign. There is a network in the States called RT, formerly Russia Today. This is an influence operation vehicle of Russia. Everybody knows it. And they started to spread, notice this is way before the COVID-19, that 5G phone is bad for you. Okay? Why? Because Russia is behind in 5G. So why not make harm to the others and also set them back? Okay? Unfortunately, there are many people that buy this. Most of them are very stupid people. Most of them are celebs, what is called. And this was amazing that just soon after, the rumor began that 5G antennas spreads COVID-19 viruses. Now, this is so idiotic, so I don't know where to begin. But many people believe in this, and people were burning 5G antennas in many countries, which is amazing, but this is the reality. And this is a very nice paper from Australia. They tried to trace it back. Where did it start? And yes, by the Russian. And it worked like magic for them. I'm not sure if it's died. We don't hear about it now just because, of course, COVID itself was dying. But I'm not sure that there are not still people that really believe that this is the situation. It's amazing. This is a different story from about 10 years ago. And this is coming from India and can give you the full capacity of what those things can do. I need to give you some background, so bear with me. There are in India many countries. One of them is called Assam. Assam is a country, quite poor one, that is in the mid-east of India at the top of it, okay? With me? Okay? Near China. Those Assamian people, as many other Indians, like to kill each other, Muslims and Buddhism, for a while. And there was a huge massacre in Muslims in Assam. Okay? One of them, there are many. Then, just a few months afterwards, somebody orchestrated a huge influence operation using SMS, websites, and also, I think, phone calls. Everything was launched one day saying that the Assamian people that are staying in Bangalore in the south of India, is one of the most rich region, the high-tech region of India, that all those people that stay from Assam in India, in Bangalore, are going to be subject to a massacre of Muslims that are going to kill them. Okay? The rumor was spread, and an estimated 15,000 people ran to the rail station trying to go back to Assam. And one day, 1 hour, there are pictures of this, they are amazing pictures. Okay? So the Indian government needed to ban mass text messages throughout all India just to try to calm people down. It took them about a month to calm this issue down. Okay, now, why it was successful? Because, if you recall, I told you that those are some people are near China, so they look a bit like Chinese, meaning their eyes. So in Bangalore, it was very easy to find out who is from Assam. So actually, those people believe this and ran away home. Now, it's a huge economical issue for the high-tech companies in Bangalore for about a month. This is huge. Now, who did it? Of course, everybody blamed Pakistan. As far as I know, there are no evidence for it. So, as far as I know, nobody knows. Okay? Next story, another huge story. It's the Qatar crisis. And again, this is a stupid story, but real. The Qatar news agency website was hacked. So first starting by cyber operation. And hackers posted fake remarks attributed to the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. And there was some kind of a lecture, or I'm not sure what exactly that he said, or some kind of a statement that expressed support of, notice, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, makes sense, and Israel at the same sentence. Now, it doesn't make sense, but this is the rumors. So, at the same time, what happened is that Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, banned Qatar for a few months, a few years, sorry. It ended about a year ago. Okay, they closed the borders, didn't allow any goods to enter Qatar anymore. Now, of course, all of those countries has a lot of things to say about Qatar beforehand. But this was the trigger for the crisis. It was a specified design influence operation using both cyber tools and, of course, the media. Now, again, who did it? Nobody knows. The US intelligence agencies believes that the UAE, but there is no smoking gun. So this is one another story. But if you think it happens only in those type of countries, no. Another story came from the documents that Edward Snowden leaked, is the story about UK conducting an influence operation in Argentina. Why? Because if you recall the Maldivian Islands, okay, there was the Falkland Islands. There was a war between Argentina and Britain on the Falkland Island. I think the Argentina called it the Malvinas. So about 10 years ago, UK conducted the influence operation in Argentina to influence the people of Argentina that Falkland Island indeed belongs to the crown. Okay, we know of it because the leaked paper of Snowden. So it's a real issue. Probably there are other influence operations going on that we are not aware of. So the issue is how AI can help to develop those influence operations or prevent them. And I'm going to explain this during my discussion of text analytics and also link analysis. Yes, question?
Yeah, I was wondering what some indicators that you can use in order to determine what, like, if the information influence campaign is actually happening.
So this is what I will try to discuss using text analytics and link analysis. Okay, about those indications. Okay, questions? Okay, so let's now speak about what is text analytics. So when I spoke about data, I said that there are different types of data, and we have data that come in tables and images that I already discussed, geographical data, and now we are shifting to text. So one way to divide the world of data is to structure and unstructured data. Structured data is well structured, and it's comprised of well-defined data types that are ready for machine processing. So there is a type, let's say, of strings or names, colors, numbers, and this is called logical or Boolean, either yes or no. Okay, those are very structured type of data that we can let the computer understand and process very easily. Unstructured data is everything else. For instance, text or text document or multimedia document that contain both text and images. Okay. From where can we get text nowadays? From plenty of ways. We have, of course, many websites, news, forums, etc. A lot of texts are in social networks. There are posts, talkbacks, email messages, and there are more old-fashioned type of documents like reviews, articles, and books, etc. Everything today is digitized. So it's very easy to get plenty amount of text and to try to analyze it. So when we speak about text analytics, we are speaking about taking text, which is unstructured data, and create structured data out of it. Okay? And then try to derive information from the text. This is the basic general idea of text analytics. There are other terms for this that I'm going to would like to mention. Text mining or text data mining. You may find those also that speaks on the same thing. There are basically two main approaches to conduct text analytics. One of them, which is the most common now, it's called statistical approach. And this approach treats everything, letter, word, etc., and I'm going to speak about this in a minute, as regular data, meaning you don't care that those are letters, words, etc. The second approach is totally different. It's called NLP, stands for natural language processing, natural language meaning a language that people speak. And it's a linguistic approach. And it's coming from a branch that calls computational linguistics that was started about 40 years ago. And it combines the classical linguistic science that is much more ancient with methods of computer science. So trying to do linguistic analysis using computers. Okay? And of course, there are, as usual, hybrid approaches. Before the internet or before the web, text analytics with a statistical approach was used almost exclusively, or even say exclusively, for cipher breaking. Why? Because it is very useful for this. Just a very, very naive and simple example. If I have a text and I don't know what it says because it's cipher, but I think it's in English, then all I need to do is to conduct for this text some kind of letter frequency. And I know that people knew, even before computers, that there are different frequencies for different letters in the English language. Well, the most common letter is E, following by P, and then by A, okay? And the least frequent ones are J, Q, X, and Z, okay? So just by taking the text that I am not familiar with, counting how many times I see each symbol, I can try to guess which letters it represents, and from there, try to break the code. Now, this, of course, works for simple codes, not for machine codes, but it was used starting, this method were used starting from the 18th century, I believe. Okay? Nowadays, statistical approaches are the most exclusively, are used for almost everything else, because again, the internet changed the way that we can access or how many text volume we can access, because now we can have huge amounts of text. All of them are in computerized format, ready for processing. So we can use these statistics for many, many other things, and I'm going to show you how so. Also, nowadays we have text in, or correlating text in many different languages. For instance, Wikipedia. You can have text that say almost the same in several different languages, and this is a gold mine for text analytics. Okay, questions till now? So I'm going to speak a bit about the challenges in trying to analyze a text. And one of them, or I think the most problematic challenge, is called ambiguity. Ambiguity in natural languages comes from the idea that it can be that the same word, or it's called the same term, it's called homonym. It has several meanings. And I'm going to use for this lecture the word red. Red may be a color. It may be referring to the Red Army or to the Soviets or the communists, meaning red meaning communists, or it could be redhead, okay? And of course, there are others, meanings for the word, okay? Another challenge that is very problematic when you try to analyze text is that, well, there isn't only one specific language, there are many of them. And in many languages, we have either regional or even age different dialects. Arabic is a very good example for this. Okay, the Egyptian Arabic, the Syrian Arabic, the Libyan Arabic, all of them different. Okay. Also, there is a of a jargon. Jargon usually comes from some kind of a profession. So you may hear doctors speak. They speak Hebrew, but not the Hebrew that you will understand, because they are speaking of their jargon. Of course, it comes from many other professions. Next thing is called register. Register is that you use the language in a particular situation. Now, in many, it's known in many languages, but it's more, I think, evident in East Asia that there are different ways to speak for people with authority or with friends, so you are not going to use the same wording. This is called a register, but nowadays we hope we have more of this, because if you look about teenagers writing in WhatsApp, you may think it's in English, but it's not, okay? At least for I looked at some of those teenagers speaking. It's not a language that looks near the language that I'm familiar with, okay? Even using the emicons or emojis, etc., different other things makes it different. Now, it may be for human being to understand easy, but not for computer. Questions? So let's speak about text concepts. And I'm not going to give you a grammar language, a class, okay? Because there are many, many boring grammar issues here. So I'm just going to state them and we'll move on. First thing that we need to consider, the basic block, is called a character. Character could be a letter like A, a digit like 8, or a punctuation mark like the exclamation, okay? The next one in the hierarchy is word. Word usually is a string of characters like hello, father, etc. Next one is term. Term is one or more words which have a semantic meaning when they are joined. For instance, red light, you all know what it means. It's not just light in red, okay? Or red army. We all know what this refers to. It's not just soldiers in red color, okay? So those are terms. Up in the hierarchy, there is a phrase. Phrase are one or more words that function as a single unit in a sentence, meaning that they are not just a simple term, but they have some function in a sentence. This is about syntax, okay? An example, the lost kitten was a wet and stinky brown cat. Now, the most important words here are kitten and cat, but the lost kitten function together, and a wet and stinky brown refers to cat and function together. So this is called a phrase. Okay? Next, there is a sentence. A sentence is a unit of text delimited by some kind of a marker, usually a period. Next, there is a paragraph, which is basically a band of sentences, a document, many paragraphs, and many documents are called corpus. Okay? Questions? What can we do with them? So the first thing we would like to do in order to analyze them is to segment. Yes.
And what is endpoint, like taking with the grain of salt, which is like always supposed to be there.
Okay.
On the end, like you can break into one.
Either a term or a phrase.
Yeah, but it will really explain. You can break the wet stick down and wet stick down.
I can do it, but it's a phrase.
Yeah.
If I do it, no.
Yeah, but if you have a phrase which is a metaphor, like take with a grain of salt, you break it into a grain of salt.
Yes, but this is a term. Grain salt is a term, it's not a phrase. If it have a semantic meaning when it's coming together, then it's a term. If it's in syntax, this is about semantic, this is about syntax.
Where inside?
What?
Verb?
Well, can be also because if you take some kind of adverb can be part of a phrase with a verb. It's okay, okay?
I mean, like a term can be whole sentence?
Term is, no, usually term is about 2 to 4, 5 letters. Okay, not a whole sentence. Phrase could be very long, as you can see here. This is about semantic meaning. This is only about functioning as this is.
I mean, like, if a phrase has a semantic meaning, if it's not literal, then it's a term.
It's not a literal. This is called, again, literal to define, because a word is one word, okay? I think that literal usually refer to a word, not to a term. Okay, so term is several literals.
I mean, like, if you take the sentence, it means taking the grain of salt, it means it's a species.
Grain of salt by itself is a term. Okay, for sure.
Okay.
So what is the next, the sentence in whole?
Take
it with a grain of salt. Grain of salt is a phrase which will be like this, but a phrase that is basically a term. Okay, a phrase could be a term because, as I said, one or more words. Okay, so it could be a term. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that we like to do is to segment it. And as you may consider, this is not always easy or trivial. Again, because of terms, because we don't want to split the words Los and Angeles, because that makes sense, right? It's a term. And here we have a term of 4 words. And one way to illustrate it by adding the hyphen, this means you need to consider this as a whole. Don't try to break it. Now, usually, if we have a dot or a period, we would like to break it, like a sentence. But we all know that this is not the case here, right? We don't want to break it. Sometimes we don't really know what are the real words here, because actually it's written here is not. Okay? And also, this is not an ending of a sentence. And of course, I can give you plenty more examples of obstacles like this. So the very basic way to use statistical analysis of text is the method that is called bag of words. And basically, it just meaning that we have a bag of words. That's it. So we are going to count the words, ignore anything that belongs to grammar, etc. For instance, if I'm going to count this slide, then I have the word letter appears 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, notice that I ignore the S. Sure. Then I have here the word bag 2 times. Bag and bag. So I have a bag of words. That's it. Okay? Why this is important? Because it happens that many times, if I would like to understand the semantics of the topic that is discussed in this document, I need to refer to the words that appear the most, which are more common. Okay? However, there are words that are not important. Those words are called stop words, like a, for, of, is. They are very, very common, but they don't have any information or any interesting information. Those are called stop words. So first thing that I would like to do is get rid of this, because they don't give me much in order to understand. So the importance of a word in a document is usually, as the word is more frequent, probably it is more important and informative for me to understand what is this document about. However, if this word is very common in many other documents and not specifically in this document, then, well, it's not so informative. Do you understand the logic? Questions? So this is a method that calls term TF-IDF. This stands for term frequency inverse document frequency. Okay, and I'm going to illustrate this in the next slide to define it, but just give you the idea. We have here a corpus of 7 documents. Refer to those rectangles as a word. So we have here a word, which is the blue word and the red word. So the blue word is very common in this document, but it appears also in all the rest. So probably it's not very important to this specific document. However, the red word appears several times in this document and appears only in that document and only once. So probably this word is more informative to this document. This is the idea behind this method, which is very, very useful nowadays. And the way to define it is term frequency. The TF is simple. The number of term appearances divided by the total numbers of terms. I just count all the terms, count how many times I see this term, divide it. That's it. Regular frequency. The IDF inverse document frequency, it's why it's called inverse, because I flip it. It's the total number of documents divided by the number of documents containing this term. Okay? Now, many times people use log value in mathematics. I don't get into those details. So if you go back to the example I started with, so the term frequency of the blue word in this document is 7 divided by the total number of words that I have here. I put just T. The blue one, the red one is 5 divided by T. Now, if we look only on term frequency, it looks to us that this is more important because this is higher. Okay? However, let's go to the document names. So here we have, of course, it's always 7 here because we have total of 7 documents. So out of them, 7 out of them have the letter, the word, sorry. But only 2 of them has this, the red one. So this is 3.5. So now I'm going to multiply 7 by 1, it's 7. Multiply 3.5 by 5 will give me a higher number. So then I know that the red word is more important to this document. What's the word? Okay. Now it is very, very useful. If I would like to summarize a document, basically this is how it's done. I just look for the most common words also after FIDF, and then build sentences or take the sentences around them, and then I summarize the document. If I just would like to know what is the topic of this document, again, I look at the most, at the higher value of DFIDF word of this document, and then I get the topic.
But then you need to compare it to something.
To compare what?
So you cannot look just on a single document.
No, for sure. I have a corpora.
To others.
Of course, usually I'm not going to use 7. I'm going to use 1,000 and even millions. Okay.
But then it depends which document you select.
No, I'm going to compute TF-IDF for each word in all the words in all the corpora, and then at each document I'm going to look at the higher one that in there.
This is something kind of indexes that the machines are doing before.
Yes, I'm going to index the word. Yes. Okay. Yes.
You know, if I'm trying to start finding news on picturing the word Trump, and it compares it to other news articles also containing the word Trump, wouldn't this
Let's say the red word is Trump.
Mhm.
Okay, and let's say the blue one is election. So all this corpora is talking about election. It's not unique, but this is the only one to speak about Trump election. See what I mean?
all the articles are talking about Trump elections.
No, there could be, because otherwise, if the red one is Trump, I should see red also appears
Yeah, but I mean like in real life.
in real life, but
Wouldn't
it depends on the number of documents that you took. Okay, usually people when are doing this trick, they don't to take 7 documents, as I said, they take millions. So if you now just collect now millions of documents from the internet, probably not million of them will have word Trump in them.
we're going to say that it's less important for the document, despite the fact that it's the main subject of the document itself. Because it's more common.
The idea is, it happens to be that if you, let me give you another example. If this corpus is about sports, you will find terms belongs to sports in them. Okay, so if some of them will speak about football, some of them will speak about soccer, you will see different terms that belong either to football or to soccer. Okay, this is the way it's used. And people just explore this and find out that this is the case. Okay, so now just by looking at the most, the higher value TF-IDF word in each document, I can tell you just by those words if this document speaks about soccer or football. I don't need to do anything else.
I mean, the whole corpus is supposed to have more,
Something in common.
no, I mean, less in common, or it's bigger.
It depends what you would like to achieve. If you would like to achieve now to try to figure out, I will speak later on about application, okay? But let's say that I would like now to classify many documents and to understand whether this speaks about sports, politics, arts, etc., etc. So in this case, I would like to collect millions and millions of different, totally different documents in order to be able to classify them later on. Okay. Now, if I would like now to be specific and just to know how to distinguish between soccer and football, then to start with, I will look only for documents that speak about sports and then try to classify those. Okay. It depends on the goal. Okay. More questions? I'll stop here for 15 minutes. Let's start again at 4:15. Maybe we'll start the air conditioner also, but it's very hot. Up.
היית רק אמרת שאתה רמטכ"ל או כבר נדלק? מה?
כי הדליקה.
בדיוק. אני יצא בלי להבין. לא? כן. מה אתה לא זוכר בכיסא היום?
ניסו להעלות את זה,
מה זה?
ניסו להעלות את זה.
זאת אומרת,
בואי, נפל היו מהבית שלו. לא, עכשיו יהיה בפילל. יש שם שלושה נגדלים, להיות מסיימת את המעצמים בגלל.
לא, אבל זה מה שיש.
כבר פרסמו שיש נגדלים?
שלושה.
איך זה אומר? זה כבר אומר.
לא יודעים, שאנחנו מתפחדים לכם כל שיש פה לא בגלל. מזמן יחסית כבר, נהיה בשעתיים.
מה שתסביר.
זה חיילים או אזרחים?
לא יודע.
איפה לא בכלל כל מיני דברים?
מה, בצביעה או בצביעה?
לא, ממש פוגעות. היום?
לא, זה שי. נפל טיל שיחת צבאי.
מה, בתוך תצא לך? מה?
אתה יודע איפה ליד?
מה זה טיל? שילוט, לא...
לא, תסתכל בבית רואים את הפון. נפל גם ליד בית ספר רובין, בית ספר חדש שפתחו של כמו הפרויקט תלפיות. הוא תוכנית חדשה, נקראת איזה שנתיים, שנקראת תוכנית קודם, היו תלמידים כיתה ט', עושים להם לימודים עד י"ד, וכולם מוכנים ומאותרים בכלים טכנולוגיים בשב"כ, במשרד, בצבא ביטחון.
מה, אבל זה קרה בבית ספר כאילו?
גם בשעה, בקורדר.
אבל הם חוץ מכל הזאת קרה משהו?
לא, יש שם איזה שטח קטנה שנגמר חרדה ממש, ועוד שם מוגדרת, כי זה המקום צמוד להוסטל של מתגוררים. ממש אוכלוסייה בעיקר רוסית מבוגרת, אין שם פוליטיות כמו כאלה. אבל האוכלוסייה נשמעת.
מה, לא זאת הספורט כאילו?
כן, ככה מבורות. בגולן זה מגיע לככה.
מה, אחרי שהגיע רק הטילים? מה, הייתי כבר בשביל כבר נגמר.
אנחנו מכירים יותר, ידענו שזה יגיע לפתחם. הגולן התחיל לחטוף באזור בין 4 ל-5, זה התאורטית שהייתה ברמת הגולן. התחיל צפון הגולן, כי התחילו להגיע מזה סוריה ובגלל. צפון הגולן.
וואלה.
ואזור 4 ל-5 כבר.
זה נתחיל, הגעתי נתחיל בשמיים.
תשמע, מטוסים אצלנו זה שירה כבר כל החצי שנה. כל הזמן מטוסים בלבנון, בין דרך הים. שירה כבר כל הזמן. יום בלילה, נהיה שנייה.
מטוסים להם, נמצאות כבר בשעות נגיד מפחד.
5 קצת. אולי להגעת מלאה.
עד פגע.
לא ידעו גם למה לא הצליחו להגיד. הם קיבלו לא באמת איזה צדק, בגלל לא נפח, זה עושים את זה, זה קשה. נפח זה מילימטר.
מה זה לא? אתה יודע, טיל שיעור נתורן אותו. תראה, היה שלו. זה לא טיל שהם...
לא, אבל הם משבשים, והיעדים זה הכל היה בסיסי גם.
עקרון טיל שיעור, זה דבר מדויק, אני יודע. כן, אבל טיל בליסטי זה יש לך איזשהו דבר קצת.
יש לך הרבה יותר זמן בכל
לא
זמן,
טיל בליסטי, יש לו מעגל.
לא יודע מה סייעת ה-GPS שלנו מבחינת נתת.
לא, טיל בליסטי עולה. בליסטי תלוי מה מחנך עליו, וכמו בליסטי זה עולה, יורד.
לא, וזה עולה יורד. אין נקודתי.
עושה פרבולה ויורד, ויש לי.
כל יש להם סטיות פה ושם, סטיות קטנות. סימבליסטים מגיעים.
אישיות, אין סיבה שיש סטיות,
אישיות לא מגיעים.
כן, הם בסדור, אין סיבה. אני רק חושב על בית ישראל, מה הוא עשה בלילה, הוא נפגע חגב, כוס, ישראל, החגיגות, לראות עכשיו, אתה רואה פה חיוך מאוד לעוד.
בן שלי אמר, זה גם תורה. תורה. כמובן, כתבנו שבאים והציעות של הפנימית, כאילו,
הוא היה.
הוא נשאר מהדלת, אבל הוא כצפונית. כתב לא שקרוב לדימון. רק לא היו דמיתי. כל מי שגרם להם, לא עובר להם.
לא, כמו שאפשר עכשיו. אני חושב שאני כבר לא יודע מה לעשות, אני כבר לא יכול לעשות את זה, מה לכתוב? מה לכתוב?
זה פה שאלה אחרת, אנשים כזה טוב, לא יודעים מקום משהו כן, לא היו שניים
אסור לך לענות מעניין אותך, אין כאילו את הפרוץ, שלא פרוץ. עכשיו, אז מה שאנחנו צריכים לעשות, להצליח פה. אין סרטון, אתה לא חייב להצליח 100%, אתה חייב להגיע ל-80%, הם הגיעו ל-5%, אפילו לא, נכון, אפילו לא, כן, אתה לא יכול להגיע למצב כזה, אתה גם עכשיו להתחיל פרוץ. סוכה, כאילו זה יהיה עוד יותר גרוע, זה של מה שתעשה. אתה בעצת תקופה אפקטיבית, תגרום נזק, ומצד אחד, מצד שני שלא תהיה מספיק חזקה כדי שאנחנו הכל דומה.
יצא לו. לפחות אתה אומר, אתה להשתות להם וירו, דברים להם.
הם עשו לנו נזק, כל הקהל שהיה
תקשיב, לא היה פה כלום. תכלס, שוב על דברים, אני, בסוף העניין, קח אותי, בדוגמה, לא מייצגת, כן? אבל אני לא היה צורך. בתל אביב, ב-10 בלילה, בהפגנה, אמרו ב-9:30 עד 1 צריך לזכור שתלכו הביתה, ופעם ראשונה זה קורה בהפגנה, כן, ממש, אני חושב פיקוד העורף, תלכו הביתה, הלכתי הביתה, הגעתי ברבע ל-11 הביתה, הלכתי לישון, דורות בבוקר, אני פותח את הטלפון, מה קרה פה? שהוא לא כמוני, זה הרוב הגדול של האוכלוסייה, היו ערים כל הלילה.
אני הייתי עניין אותי רק להבין...
נכון, אבל אני לא הבנתי מה קורה, יכול שהוא הייתי נשאר, אבל...
אני חושב שרוב האנשים הלכו לישון. אני הלכתי לישון.
זה משהו מאוד תקדימי.
לא, זה משהו עקרונית משמעותי, כי יש פה שינוי מבחינת התפיסה של המלחמה שכבר 20 שנה מתנהלת, במב"ם עכשיו היא מלחמה גלויה. אבל מצד שני, אתה יודע, ללבנונים יש בין 150 ל-200 אלף טילים. עוד 200, פחות 300, נו, מה זה משנה בכלל? לא רלוונטי.
קינטי של רגע טילים, לא עניין.
ברור. זה אפילו היה בעיניי ברמה מסוימת אבסורדי, כאילו, אתה מחכה 8 שעות שהפצצה תגיע. זה כמו שיש בסרטים כל מיני מרדפים של קלנועיות של זקנים. ואתה יושב כאילו...
זמן... אם הציעו איזה כזו של שכנות, הציעו כמה של כדורים, באזור שעה 2 ומשהו, בצבא כבר באזור 4 התחילו, לא 2 לבד, בכל שלפני,
לא, 2
שהם שיקרו,
2 בצהריים.
2 בצהריים, באזור 4, שיגרו. הם הציעו על זה במובן, לפני שזה בכלל שעה.
כי כן, אבל כל הרעיון להביא שזה היה פה בסופו של דבר מבחינתם מבצע תודעה. הם לא האמינו באמת שמתוך ההפקקת 300 דברים האלה יגרמו נזק אמיתי. ולכן זה מבצע תודעה. עכשיו, זה מבצע תודעה גם לצד שלנו, אבל לא פחות מזה, הסיבה שהם הגיבו, זה הסביבה שלהם. בדיוק, יש להם בלוצ'ים על הראש, אפגנים על הראש, יש להם גם כן צורות. הם עשו נזק אדיר לעצמם, כן? כן, אבל פה השאלה איך אנחנו ננצל את ההזדמנות הזאת. נכון?
אם אתה תרוץ לרקום את הקואליציה ותמכים באמצעות, אם לא אתה תרוץ רגע, אתה לא רוצה להקשיב לאמריקאים, זה גם בסדר.
כן, אבל...
שמי שמחליט,
גם ציבורית פנימית וגם בחוץ. אני עושה כלום. לא קראו לך עד הצבא, לא אתה בסדר, לא? זה היה רק כמו שלי. לא היית אתה לא מגיע לשיעורים,
אני גם ככה כל יומיים מטרידים אותו.
ברגע שאתה לא מגיע לשיעורים, אני יודע שהמצב קשה.
אני לא מאלה.
אבל יש איסור יציאה לחו"ל, לא צריך...
לא, דווקא לא.
זה היה שבוע שעבר, אמרו שיש...
יש לי מלא חבר'ה שהם גם קצינים לומדים, טסו, רבים בקבוצות, האם מגיע 7 לילות, 8 לילות פה במלונות, וגם טסים לחו"ל בכיף. רק אני גם מצא הרבה עוד ראש כתמונה.
הוא נכניס אותך להבא.
גם אני חושב, גם לא במות בכלל,
נסיעת עבודה בתחילת מים? לא... שבוע, אני לא אהיה. לא... אז לחזור יותר עכשיו בזמן.
אם כבר אז כבר, מה אתה רוצה?
לא, צרה לא פעמים.
לא בא לטות, כאילו, אתה אומר, אני פה, זה, קוראים עליהם, לא עכשיו לפי מסתבס עם כל מיני שטויות.
כן, היינו עוד שם,
הצלחנו לסגור חליפות תמונות? אין בעיה. כי מקודם זה הגיע למצב שהתחלתי לנמס לגמרי.
גם תקשיב. זה גם תקשיב. אמרנו שעכשיו יש את קארצה, זה לא זו מטרה,
זה כמו להגיד שבצד מאוד לא בראתי כמו ליד.
אומרים שכתבו בעלי, כאילו, עושים לקרוא פגיעה באישים, כמו שאנחנו עשינו להם, מה, זה לא עושה.
הם חמנו רק
עכשיו זה סיסים, כן. אבל גם הטרנס זה עצמה מהדורה.
המערכות ההגנה, השקעות, זה גם קואליציה,
כן, אבל זה גם מעורר שאלות אחרות. קודם כל, קח בחשבון שמתוך ה-300, 100 ומשהו נפלו בדרך סתם. סדר גודל. ב' צפון עיראק. ב' זה אומר שעפו לפה סדר גודל של 200, שחלקם כמו שמעתי קדמונית של זקנים. זה לא... היו עשרות, כן. וג' תחשוב על הפעם הבאה היו 3,000. יפה, ולכן אני אומר, זה מעורר שאלות מכל מיני כיוון. הוא ירה גם במלחמת לבנון השנייה, הוא ירה, אפילו. בסדר, אבל זה מה שהוא יעשה עכשיו, זה ברור. טוב? ברור שזה יחדור. גם 100 יחדור, כן? טוב, אוקיי.
לא, מאז לבן לפני שעה לא יכול לחזור. עכשיו, לפחות פעם אחד כן.
Sure, it's amazing.
Okay, let's continue. Now, it's easy to explain statistics, ideas, or even with rectangles. Of course, when I speak about natural language processing, I cannot do it. I have to speak about the words themselves. And again, this is not a grammar lesson, just to give you the basic idea. So text has, of course, grammatical rules, and it has syntax, and it has meaning, which is semantic. All of these are different, okay? Words have root, they have what is called morphological structure, and more things that I'm not going to get into. When we speak about a part of speech, it's called, the words can be nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. And when we speak about syntax, then we refer to terms or phrases as subject, verb, object, and more. Okay? And of course, when we are doing NLP analysis, it is language dependent, because each language has different structures and rules, which is not the case when we did the statistical approach, which we can just, as I said, I just use rectangles. So just very briefly, some of the ideas of what does it mean to conduct natural language processing. Let's start with stemming and lemmatization, okay? Stemming meaning let's find the root form of a word. So in this case, all those words, consult, consultant, consulting, etc., have the same spelling, which is consult. Okay, it's quite easy in English. It's more difficult in Semitic language like Hebrew and Arabic. When you speak about lemmatization, then we look for the meaningful base form, which is called lemma. So in the case of consultant, it's the same like stemming, it's consult. But when we look at better, then the lemma of better is good, beautiful is, the lemma is beauty, and corpora is corpus, because this is the plural, okay? So lemmatization is not about taking the root form, but trying to find what is the basic or the basic form or the base form of each letter.
There what with the Hebrew? Is there what lemmatization?
No, in Hebrew you don't have lemmatization usually. Many some cases, usually you have only stemming. Okay. In Hebrew you don't have this phenomenon of better becoming good. Okay. WordNet is a database or a lexical database that was developed quite a while ago. They tried to give the ability to computerize computation of natural language processing. And in WordNet, which I'm going to show you on the next slide, you have all the semantic relation. Okay. Before I spoke about each word, but about the form of it, morphological. Here I'm speaking about semantic, and there are several semantic relations between words, and I'm not going to go over all of them, just few of them. Probably all of you know synonyms, meaning several words with the same meaning. Let's speak about hyponyms and meronyms. Okay, what are hyponyms or hyponyms? So basically, you can look at it as type of. Okay, so purple, red, blue, and green, all of them are type of color. Okay, this is the definition of hypernym. This is the hypernym, which is the group name, colors, and these are hypernyms, and those are called co-hypernyms, because basically, if you switch in a sentence between red and blue, beside this switch, the semantics or the meaning of the sentence will remain the same. Okay? I drove in the red color or I drove in the blue color, basically the same thing beside the color of the car. Okay? Meronyms is not type of, is part of. Okay? So a car has many parts. For instance, engine, door, and wheel are parts of car. Okay? A cylinder and a valve, sorry, are parts of an engine. Okay? So in WordNet, all those semantics relation, and as I said, there are a few more, are put there so people can use it to analyze text. So WordNet is a database. Yes, you can just surf to it. Okay, it's WordNet. And it's a combination, and it's in many languages nowadays. It's a combination and also an extension for both a dictionary and a thesaurus. Okay, and it designs for automatic text analysis and also nowadays used for AI. Okay. So when I looked for the word red, I said that I'm going to use the word red several times. Then this is how it looks. So red can be a noun or it can be an adjective. And when it is a noun, then it's about the red color or pigment. It could be a red river. It could be the meaning of a Bolshevik or Marxist. It could be, if you speak about the economy, it could be a loss. Red means loss. Okay, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and if we look just focusing on the noun, on the redness, then we see the direct hyponyms. Okay, those are basically types of red. So we have cardinal, crimson, I don't know, most of them. Okay, so this is the idea. So this is a huge database that many words appears there and give you those relations, but you can just feel the complexity of the issue. Okay. However, there is one more thing that text has and the rest of data not, and this is sequence. Okay, text is a sequence, and it is important to use this sequence. And basically, this idea of the motivation that sequence is important is in charge of the huge breakthrough that we see nowadays in analyzing text. So orders actually matter and help us to analyze the text. We don't want to analyze each word separately. That makes sense. Okay? We want to consider always the words before and after each word that we'd like to analyze in order to get more information. Again, several simple examples. For now, I take the term red light. Okay? So the first one, should I put my car in neutral when stopping at a red light? probably you all understand that we are speaking about this type of red light. Why? Because I'm speaking about car, I'm speaking about stopping, okay, traffic light. How red light helps you sleep better? Well, it's a real sentence from the internet. It happens to be that some people, many people, I don't know, think that sleeping with this type of red light in your room help you to sleep. I have no idea if it's true, but you know that the meaning is this because it helps and sleep. So they are not speaking about installing a traffic light inside your room, okay? Next one, accommodation in red light districts, though they are not speaking about this, they're not speaking about that, they are speaking about the red light like a district like in Amsterdam, okay? Why we know this? Because we speak about district, okay? So it's wise to look in the sentence and not focus only on the term itself in order to understand the meaning of it. This is the basic idea of using the order and using the sequence. Okay? Questions? So for this, another term was invented, which is called n-grams. N stands for a number. Okay? And this is one of the things that made Google. Okay? Consider n-gram. Okay? N-gram is just a sequence of n items. Those items could be characters, letters, terms, words, whatever. Okay? For example, I have a character 3 grams of I love you. Now, if I do it in a simple way, then all I have is, and notice that I'm using characters, not only letters. Okay? So I have also the blanks. Okay? So if I just took it and divided to 3, I had I blank L, A-O-V-E, U blank U-O. That's it. But this is not the way we are doing it. This is the way that we are in a necklace, okay? We just take them each by one. We do it differently. We're just moving a window of 3 characters all over the sentence. So basically, we have also the all n-grams or 3 grams that are in between. Okay? It happens to be that if you do this, and then you use these histograms to compare between documents, you can find very easily whether those documents are similar or not using those type of strings. Usually the people are using 4 grams and 5 grams, even 3 grams, but usually 4 grams and 5 grams. And this is very useful way to find out whether documents are similar or not. And the idea of sliding window, it's called shingles. Okay, so we have overlap between those n-grams. So we are not using word or those grams as necklace, but as shingles that will have overlap. Questions? For this, people understand that since order is matter, then it doesn't make sense. If you recall, when we spoke about artificial neural network, I told you that it always flows from here to there, the calculation. This calculates something, output some numbers that are used for this to calculate, etc., etc. People said, no, if we are doing this, we are losing the order, we are losing the sequence. So what they added, and this is called RNN, recurrent neural networks, the concept of going back. So the output of the neuron returns to the input of it. So it passes information from steps to step by feeding back. Okay? So people try to do it. And then there is another algorithm that I'm not going to explain. This was one. Next, people did this, which is called long short-term memory LSTM. And this algorithm coming from this one basically even try to do better in order to use the sequence part. Okay? This is one thing, and I'm going to get back to this in a minute. Another thing that was a real breakthrough in order to analyze text was word-to-vec. If you recall, when we spoke about neural networks and deep learning, I told you that in order to use them, I need to find a way to define or to treat whatever as numbers. So how can I treat text as numbers? So one way, it's the naive way, because of course we represent the text in the computer. There is one way to just to code each letter as a number. So we can just take this number. But it happens to be that it doesn't do any good. It's not a good way to represent text in order to be useful. So people come out with another idea, and this is word-to-vec, meaning let's take word and try to embed. The operation is called embed, word embedding, embedding them in some vector of numbers. Okay? And meaning that each word will be represented with some list of numbers. And we are going to do this in a way that a word that have high semantic similarity, not necessarily synonyms, also hyponyms like red and blue, okay, will have very similar sequence and numbers, meaning will be embedded in the same number space. Okay? This is used by another algorithm of neural network, which I'm not going to get into the details. And it happens to be that after taking huge number of documents and trying this, people come out with this embedding mechanism, which is very useful. So now if you look at, let's say, the word dog and cat, you will see that they are represented in a sequence of number which is quite similar to each other, although, of course, they speak about two different animals. But again, if you switch between dog and cat in many sentences, you will stay with the same semantics. Okay, so I can do it. Okay? For this, people started to develop what is called word completion. Word completion is how can I tell what is the next word in a sentence? Meaning I'm learning for many, many sentences, and I'm trying to get to know. Now, let's say you type the dog is, what is the next word? So guessing the next word used by word-to-vec and statistic of what is usually the next word after those three words. The next development was a newer algorithm that was invented by Google, and this is called the transformer. Now, the transformer architecture looks like this, and I'm not going to try to teach it here because I would need several lessons just to explain this, which I don't want to do. Okay? But like the concept of recurrent neural networks that go back, transformer designed to process the sequential input data. This is the whole idea. Again, the idea that we have sequence and not just words that are, if you recall the bag of words, just put everything together with no order. No, this is not the way to go. We need to take advantage of the order. And there is a very important concept that they invented, which is called attention. Attention is trying to learn, while we analyze the sentence, what are the most important words in order to understand. If you recall, I'll go back for a moment. When I explained this, I marked several words, and I said that if we draw attention to these words, we'll know to understand better what does it mean red light. So this is the concept of attention. The question is how to do it in computers. So Transformer basically was trained to do this. And it happens to be that it does it very, very good. So ChatGPT, that you probably all heard about it, is based on the GPT architecture, which is a generative, pre-trained transformer description. So they take huge amount of documents, pre-train a creature like this, and teach it how to generate. What does it mean to generate? To suggest the next word. Okay, it generates word by word. Okay, you enter the first word, now it suggests the second word. After you have two of them, let's suggest the third one, etc., etc., etc. This is how it writes. Okay, and it uses something which is called large language models, which is basically take huge amounts of a corpus of documents. I'm talking about billions of documents, and build all of them, put all of them inside this network, and you'll get a powerful tool of studying. And we are speaking about here, we are not speaking about studying just out of the blue, okay? It is, of course, with support of a human, okay? To study those documents and be able to generate new text. Yes, what is the question?
How is a transformer model different from like a diffusion model?
Diffusion?
Um,
I'm not sure what is diffusion.
Like let's say like there's something of like stable diffusion and like a diffusion model.
I'm not familiar with diffusion. Okay. 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 Questions? I'll go back to ChatGPT in several slides ago. Okay. Now, of course, this is supervised learning. Keep in mind, it's not unsupervised. Some people consider Transformer and GPT as unsupervised, and this is not the case, because it is supervised, but the idea here is that you don't need to label by hand or manually all the things that you need, because I can take many documents, and I said, okay, let's take the sentence, and I see that the word at the end is this word. Of course, I can take similar sentences and learn which is the word that could appear there, and then I can train the model and look if it actually got the right word. Okay, so it is supervised, but there is a clever automatic way to get the labeling.
It did not mix at times like supervised and unsupervised.
No, it's automatic supervised. Now, there are some methods that try to enhance the ChatGPT architecture using also unsupervised, but the basic idea is supervised, yeah. Some people will call it semi-supervised. I don't like this.
Because it's automatic.
Yes, it's automatic supervised. More questions? So now let's speak about text mining applications. So first, when I speak about application, I would like to emphasize many times, I mean about the end application. And let's use the metaphor of a knife. Okay, I can use knife for cutting or for stabbing. This is an application, but when I speak about the end application is I can use a knife for cutting a salad. This is the application, or I can use a knife for stabbing a people or a person. This is another application. This is the application. Now, of course, there is a hierarchy of application. I can use the knife to cut a salad of fruits, salad of vegetables, etc., etc., etc. But the application is cutting a salad. Okay. So when I'm using now the word of usage, because some applications use what is called inter-document analysis, and let's think about this as macro understanding, meaning look at the whole document together and think about it. usually they will use the statistical approach, and this coming from basically classification and clustering, the same classification and clustering that we already speak about, but now with text, after embedding them to number. And there is also intra-document analysis. Here you need micro understanding. Usually you will need some type of NLP. You cannot do only with statistics. Sometimes you need only a little amount of NLP, like for instance, taking out the S of plural, but some NLP you will need, and extract knowledge from the text or sentiment analysis, which I'm going to demonstrate later on. So the first usage is called text retrieval. Okay, this is the basic operation of text analytics, and it could be triggered by search, meaning putting some word in Google and pressing enter, or it could be driven by push, meaning there are applications out there that you can register for some item, and then you will get notification. Okay, so basically your wall, Facebook, etc., working like this, because you get new items even if you are not looking for it. Basic search could be free text, just typing words, or you can use a predefined dictionary. For instance, I would like to find documents that speaks about sports. Then I can put a dictionary, a small dictionary of terms of sports, the one that I'm interested in, and that's just use all of these as the term for search, and I get now documents that those words, as I said before, are common in there. So I retrieve a document that speaks about sports. Next application or usage is Q&A, and Q&A can be used in several applications. It's called Intelligent Personal Assistant, Siri, Cortana, or forgot the last
Alexa.
one.
Alexa.
Alexa, thank you. You can have call centers, and those will be called chatbots. Usually nowadays, if you approach a company, many times you don't speak with human, you speak with a chatbot, okay? And basically this is working for about 40 years. It's not new. Or you can have the deep QA, which I'm going to explain in a minute. And the idea is in this type of usage is that allow the user to ask question or free text. The system seems to understand the semantics intention and try to get the best answer for the question. So I mentioned IBM at the first class, and I mentioned that IBM Watson about 10 years ago won in the trivia game Jeopardy. So now let's see it in action.
I remember that morning going to the lab, and I was thinking, this is it. This is the last Jeopardy game.
This is Jeopardy, the IBM Challenge. Here we go. Brad, if you're ready, make your first choice.
Let's take alternate meanings for 200, Alex.
The rule of this game are that there are columns. Each column in one topics, art, sports, etc. You need to pick some one of the tiles there, and then you will get a word, and you don't need to answer a question, but to rephrase a question that the word is the answer for it. Okay, this is the game.
Four-letter word for a vantage point or a belief. Brad.
What is a view?
Yes.
After the first clue of the game, which Brad won, I had just this horrible feeling at that moment that he was as good as everyone said he was, and he was just going to run the whole board on us.
Watson.
What is issue?
Keep in mind that basically those two are the champions of all champions. Okay, there's not people like us. And also you see here of Watson, and of course Trent. Okay.
You are right.
We actually took the lead. We were ahead of them, but then we started getting some questions wrong.
Watson?
What is leg?
No, I'm sorry, I can't accept that.
What is 1920s?
No,
What is chic?
no, sorry. Brad?
What is class?
Class, you got it. Watson?
What is Sauron?
Sauron is right, and that puts you into a tie for the lead with Brad.
The Double Jeopardy round of the first game, I thought was phenomenal.
Watson went on a tear.
Watson,
Who is Franz Liszt?
you are right.
What is violin?
Good.
Who is the church lady?
Yes. Watson,
What is narcolepsy?
you are right, and with that, you move to $36,681.
The risk was, if Ken gets a daily double, bets big, gets it right, he's going to be well ahead. And then with that kind of lead going into Final Jeopardy, if he bets enough,
There is one tile on the board which is double, okay?
he could end up winning the match.
Ken,
What's a committee?
We got to find that last daily double. We got to find that last daily double.
It was a crucial moment in the game. There was still a daily double on the board, and it was starting to become pretty clear that it was in the legal ease category. Let's go to legal ease for 1,200.
Watson,
What is executor?
right.
Same category, 1,600.
Answer, daily double.
That was the moment when I knew it's over.
The category is 19th century novelists.
What Watson wants to do then is preserve the lead, not take a big risk, especially with Final Jeopardy, because just like for humans, Final Jeopardy is hard for Watson.
Now we come to Watson, who is Bram Stoker, and the wager. Hello, 17,973, and a two-day total of 77,147.
I would have thought that technology like this was years away, but it's here now. I have the bruised ego to prove it.
My past Jeopardy experiences have been great, but they weren't really weighty with this kind of technological, philosophical importance. I think we saw something important today.
Didn't really think very much about the implications until later and say, wow, wait a second, this is history.
Of course, this whole project is not ultimately about playing Jeopardy. It's about doing research and deep analytics and a natural language understanding. This is about taking the technology and applying it to solve problems people really care about. We're just so excited about all the things.
Okay, let's stop here. This is before ChatGPT and before ChatGPT architecture, okay? By the way, I visit New York 2 years before that. I heard the lecture about what they are trying to achieve. And I was not sure they are going to do it, and it's amazing. Great job of them.
Things.
Back to Eliza. I showed you this in the first lesson. Again, Eliza 64 to 66. Let's see it again.
Does it understand what it's doing in the sense that we do? It's easy to leap to false conclusions, as Professor Weizenbaum discovered when he created Eliza. Eliza is a computer program that anyone can converse with via the keyboard, and it'll reply on the screen. We've added human speech to make the conversation more clear.
Men are all alike.
In what way?
They're always bugging us about something or other.
Can you think of a specific example?
Well, my boyfriend made me come here.
Your boyfriend made you come here.
He says I'm depressed much of the time.
I'm sorry to hear that you're depressed.
It's true. I am unhappy.
Do you think coming here will help you not to be unhappy?
The computer's replies seem very understanding, but this program is merely triggered by certain phrases to come out with stock responses. Nevertheless, Weizenbaum's secretary fell under the spell of the machine.
And I asked her to my office and sat her down at the keyboard, and she began to type. And of course, I looked over her shoulder to make sure that everything was operating properly. After 2 or 3 interchanges with the machine, she turned to me and she said, "Would you mind leaving the room, please?"
And yet she knew, as Weizenbaum did, that Eliza didn't understand a single word that was being typed into it.
You're like my father in some ways. You don't argue with me.
Why do you think I don't argue with you?
You're afraid of me.
Does it please you to think I'm afraid of you?
My father's afraid of everybody.
This is a more modern version. And as you can consider, the interchange is usually like some psychological way. So this is the AI therapist. It's from a few years ago. It's getting better and better, but this is just an illustration. This is a robot. It's not a human. And as you can see, they are not using only the discussion, but also analyzing the face and the expression and the gaze, etc., etc. Okay, let's see. These are real people.
Hi, I'm Ellie. Thanks for coming in today. I was created to talk to people in a safe and secure environment. I'm not a therapist, but I'm here to learn about people and would love to learn about you. I'll ask a few questions to get us started. And please feel free to tell me anything. Your answers are totally confidential. Are you okay with this?
Yes,
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
That's good. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm from LA myself.
She's a robot.
When was the last time you felt really happy?
When was the last time? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not someone who's really like, I don't have any real highs. I feel like I'm a level person. It's just happy. I guess to answer your question, probably a couple months ago.
I noticed you were hesitant on that one. Would you say you are generally a happy person?
I'm generally happy.
On and on and on. I'm going to stop here.
It's
As
just
you can see,
lately there are
again, it doesn't use ChatGPT technology.
there are
before.
things.
Okay. So now let's speak about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a chatbot that developed by OpenAI as a company. It's built on top of the OpenAI GPT LLM, as I said before, large language models. And this specific LLM was tuned for conversational application, Q&A, as we saw just now, okay? It used both supervised and also they used also reinforcement learning, trial and error that I spoke about it last time, okay? Now, if you want to use ChatGPT, I don't need to teach you how to do it, just talk with him. Hell, I don't know what you wish to call it. And if you want some kind of application, like ChatGPT nowadays knows how to create slides, and you don't know how to do it, then ask it, okay? However, I do need to speak about the limitation of the technology, because as any other technology that I discussed so far, there is a hype cycle for this technology also. And of course, now it's rocket sky, okay? So there are limitations for ChatGPT. First, it has hallucinations. I'm going to show you it in a minute. Incorrect or nonsensical answers are common, and keep it in mind. It has a limited knowledge. It knows only what it was trained before, supervised, and that's it. Nowadays, however, there are Copilot of Microsoft. If you have a Windows machine, you will see at the bottom a new button that appears there, which is basically ChatGPT plus the search engine Bing. Okay, so it has all the capability to search for information, or there is Gemini of Google, which is the Google Bard is the competitive of ChatGPT plus the Google search. So at least this limitation is lessened. It gives you very, very long answer, and I'm going to show you. And it's very, very easy to mislead or to fool, like a child.
But
So,
why do you see Copilot as a mitigate for the limited knowledge problem?
because it also has been searched.
Because it conduct together with the search engine?
Yes, it is
Again,
searching.
limit for the knowledge that currently exists on the web.
Which is quite a lot.
Yes, of course, but cannot generate a new knowledge.
No, I didn't say this. But nowadays, when people are asked for a question, usually they are going to search in Google, okay? So it knows more than usually people does, okay? So let's see a conversation with ChatGPT. So the first time I did it was at December 22, soon after ChatGPT became a huge thing. So I was, of course, curious to see how can it do. And, oh, I don't see it, sorry. Okay, so I conversed with it. Now, it was the same time of the, what is called in Israel, the Mondial or the FIFA World Cup. So, of course, I was curious to know what ChatGPT knows about this match, okay? So good, this is me, and this is ChatGPT. Also, I put a lot of spelling mistake just to notice if it knows to handle it or not. So just reach to chat, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about today's weather? Okay, so do not have access to real-time information. Okay, because it doesn't know to search. Okay, can you simply guess or search on it on Google? I don't have the ability to search, and I don't have prior knowledge to 2021. Now they have till 2022, as far as I believe. So what do you think about the World Cup? I get a very, very long and tiring answer. Then I ask it, who is the best football player? It is difficult to determine blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't care. Which country won it most time? Okay, so it know right. The answer is Brazil, and 5 times. This is correct. And then it gave me more information that I requested, and it drew to my attention that it says, while England, Spain, and France have each won the tournament once. Well, this is wrong. This is wrong. France also won at 2018. Don't you know it? Yes, France, okay, give you the correct answer. Okay, why did you make this foolish mistake about France? Okay, I'm not perfect and make error, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and don't have access. Notice, don't have access to real-time information. So then I asked, but information from 2018 is real-time infestation happening before 2021, right? So again, blah, 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 blah. Get the idea? Okay, so I did it again, I think in January, about 3 months ago, to see if it's getting better.
This the version you did in November 2022 in the World Cup time.
December 2022.
December 2022.
Yes. So this is from
Just
end of January this year. Okay. I repeated the same question, the same scenario. Okay. It is the beginning. Who is the best football player? Well, now it is willing to answer. Pelé, Maradona, Messi, whatever. Which country won it most times? Okay, so again, Brazil is correct. Okay, and the victories came. A lot of information that I didn't request. How many times France won? Because you recall, France was the problem. Okay, so it said twice. Now it's okay. Which countries won the tournament once? Because last time France was once, and this was incorrect. So England and Spain is correct. Argentina, Uruguay. No, this is incorrect. Again, January this year, incorrect. My question was which countries won it all at once? Why did you mention few countries that won it more than once? Now, notice that if I search Wikipedia, I get it right. So this is a real mistake, okay? So I apologize thank you for pointing out. Here is the correct list of countries: England, Spain, this is fine. Argentina and Uruguay. Again, well, you got it wrong again. I apologize. Okay, England, Spain, Uruguay, Argentina, and more. Okay, let's continue. Uruguay won also in 1950. So I dropped Uruguay, but now we have Germany and Brazil. Got the point? So use it, but well, with a lot of salt. Correct answer is Spain. You got it wrong 3 times. Appreciate your correction. Blah, 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 blah. Which country won the tournament once? Now it got it right because I just told him. Okay? Who won it twice? Argentina, of course, it's wrong because this is because it doesn't have the information. Okay? So it learns, right? No. 5 minutes later, a new session. 5 minutes. Which countries won FIFA World Cup once? Uruguay and Italy now comes up. Okay? And I told you, I'm repeating the same conversation from about 2 years ago. Okay? This technology has its limitation. You should be aware of it. Now I tried Binge. Before Copilot, they had inside Binge also access to ChatGPT. So again, who tournament once? France again? Well, France won it twice. Mistake, blah, blah, blah. Why do the mistake? Again, a lot of blah, blah, blah. 5 minutes again after a new session, France appears again. The same thing, okay? So I think you got the idea. Questions? Okay, let's take 10 minutes break. We'll start again 5 minutes after 5.
Sure.
תנסה.
לא, לפני שהתחלנו כל ההטיות שאנשים הכניסו לו, כמה עצמם עושים.
כמה שנים לפני שצ'אט GPT יצא, מייקרוסופט הוציאה משהו דומה, ורצתה שהציבור יאמן אותו. לקח בערך שעתיים.
כן, רק שהוא התחיל לעשות לקלל.
לא לקלל, הוא היה גזעני, אנטישמי, מיזוגן.
איציק בן ישראל דיבר את זה. כן, ואני קראתי ואמרתי שגוגל ימנה את הג'ימיני שלה על איזה אתר בלוגים מהשוליים האמריקאים, לא זוכר את השם שלו, אתה מכיר? עכשיו, לאחרונה, הם ימנו אותו על איזה אתר בלוגים מהשוליים, ואז כל הטקסטים שהוא ייצר היו טקסטים של שוליים אמריקאים.
תקשיב, מה זה שוליים היום? כולם שוליים.
נכון, אבל זה היה כנראה קיצוני. Ma, lei. Ma cô em.
Okay. Other usage is text classification, similar to the classification that we spoke about when we spoke about other type of data. The idea here is usually a topic classification and identify the subject or subjects of a content. You can go either by machine learning classification or by using a dictionary, as I said before. Usually now, people will go with machine learning for this. For instance, technology, politics, sport, etc., etc. So you can have a feed, and you will understand in your feed what are the different classes. You can, of course, cluster text, meaning you don't need to train the machine, just give the text and get some kind of categories, which may be reasonable or intuitive. And I gave you the example already of this website, which unfortunately does not function yet. Again, I use the word red that I use throughout this session. So when I search for red, I get those clusters: red pictures, red films, red socks, red flags, COVID-19, of course, red cross, because at the time, okay, a red bull, red zone, okay, many terms. And then you, of course, you get clusters of documents that speak on the same topic. This is the way they are doing it, because they have similar words. Okay. Now, if we would like to get into the text itself, into the document itself, one of the usages are information extraction. And the idea is I would like to automatically get more information from the text. For instance, finding entities like names, location, dates, finding facts like one company bought another company, or M&As, finding relation, meaning this person works in this company, etc., etc. Okay, so not terms, it's also relation and facts. And these are some of the possibilities: person, or facts, meeting, M&A, or professional position. Just a picture I found over the internet to illustrate this. So this is text, and this type of application will put you red for companies. Here we have Facebook. We have a date. Here we have date. Okay, position, chief executive, etc., etc. Okay, so this is information extraction. Another thing that you can do is it's called authorship attribution. In this case, you don't want to classify the topic of the text, but you want to classify the author of the text. Let's say a real application for this: if you have a terrorist and you look for texts that were written by this terrorist, then you would like to take and implement a classifier that will classify to either this terrorist text or other. Sometimes you don't have enough text, but then you can go in a different way. It happens to be that you can classify text by gender, meaning whether they were written by men or women, by age. Good. I spoke about it earlier. Teenagers and old people don't write in the same vocabulary, and you can do, again, classification by age. And also you can identify whether the writer is using his mother tongue or her mother tongue or not. Real application for this, there are many of them. I just put some. In diplomacy, you can use this technology of text analysis to cover the web, and everything that is published on your country, you can collect and grab information from it to track your image. You can find trends in bilateral relations between countries, and again, using this application, and also sentiment, which I'm going to explain in a minute. Those kind of algorithms and technologies are used for a while, for decades, for surveillance. The Echelon program is well known, but nowadays, of course, we have more sophisticated ones. Cybersecurity involves a lot of text analysis because you have logs and you have alerts, everything is text. So people are using those technologies also for cyber technology, cybersecurity. And the point that I would like to make, that you can use it also to counter a cyber influence operation, which I'm going to discuss when I'm going to speak also about links and tie them together. Questions before I proceed? Okay. So now I would like to focus on a sentiment analysis. The idea here is to try to determine the emotional tone, not the semantics, but the tone behind the specific text that I'd like to analyze, trying to understand the attitude of what are the emotions are. For instance, is it a pro or a con, a specific subject? There's another term which is called opinion mining, which is the same thing. Let's do some examples. Okay, I will ask you whether this sentence is positive or negative or indifferent. Okay, let's start with the first one. What do you think? Is it a positive sentence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or things differently?
Okay. Unless someone said it cynically,
Apple has the best phone, right? Then
unless someone said, well, Apple has the best phones.
yes, but this is not the case here. This is not sarcasm.
Yeah, but it can be.
Can be, but it's not because you don't have exclamation.
You don't have to look up for them.
Yes, you do. In text, you do. If it was, if you could hear it, yes, you are right. But if you just see it as this one.
When I write to friends, I only deal with certain.
Okay.
They don't have to.
Okay. We see an example of sarcasm in this slide. I don't trust this candidate. Negative, positive?
Negative.
I went to sleep. So, indifferent. Okay.
It's very constant.
This is most long-lasting and reliable products. Positive, negative? Positive. Right. Those are the easy ones, okay? I dislike this hotel. Negative. Okay, let's go further. I want the best phone so bad.
I know it can be both.
It's different.
Yeah.
Positive, negative.
Different.
Who's thinking it's positive? Who's thinking it's negative? Well, it is positive. So bad, meaning I really want it.
But if you say you cannot afford that, so it can be negative. Like,
No,
oh, I
I want it so bad. It's still, I think of it positive thinking, maybe I can afford it.
And then you feel sorry about it.
Yes, but this is not, this is an example, for instance, if you go to sites that sell products, and I would like to know what are the reaction for the product. If somebody would write this, that's a positive, okay? I do not dislike the hotel swimming pool. Positive?
Or someone who doesn't know how to right. But that's
So this could be indifferent because it doesn't say that like, it's double negation, okay? Oh, sorry. The bad guy was the best actor in this movie. This is positive. Why? Although I have here the word bad, the bad guy is a term. Okay?
The entire movie was bad. That
This is something else. But the bad guy was the best actor. I think highly of this guy, right? So it's positive, it's for the subject. It could be that I had a thought in my mind, but at least now I speak about the bad guy and I think highly of him. Okay? And sometimes I really hate minimal. Well, it could be different, could be, but it could also be bad, right? Nothing is positive here. And this is for you. I really, truly love going out in this cold weather. Okay? It sounds positive, but there is the exclamation mark. This is sarcasm. Also, it is quite emphasis that I really, truly love, this is sarcasm. Okay, this is for sure sarcasm. Okay?
I'm not sure I understood the I do not dislike.
It's double negation.
So minus and minus is not close.
It's not.
Okay.
It doesn't say that it like. I do
But
not
I
like.
don't.
Well, I don't have an opinion. Okay?
Okay.
Double negation is not positive. There is this very funny story about this. There was some kind of a seminar of people dealing with logics and with text analysis about natural language processing about 30 or 40 years ago. And there was a guy there said that he searched about 150 different languages in the world, okay? And of course, there is double positive that say negative things, but not double negation. Oh, so he said it many times, double negation could be either indifferent or positive, but it can't find in any language double positive, okay? That means negative. And then someone in the crowd said, yeah. Okay? All his research was blown in.
It's like the really true.
Exactly. Okay? Okay? Okay. Sentiment analysis application, real application, are market research. There are people or companies that actually use this technology to understand before they would like to market what are the opinion or the sentiment of people about their product. Google Trends only support just follow the words without sentiment. I'm not aware that they add already the sentiment inside. I don't know. Okay.
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they?
Add sentiment.
Ask them.
Okay.
Already they can do it, but you need to pay them for getting it.
Maybe, I don't know. There are companies that market this, they have products like this, okay? You can buy it. Customer support, when you speak about with Q&A robots, the robot also try to understand the sentiment of the customer. And if the customer feels bad, probably it will get to an attention if this company is think about chance or people like to leave them, then they will just shift the conversation to other representatives. Brand monitoring, this is before and this is after the product is out. Okay, again, you can use this technology to track and to see what is going on. And people are using it also for election campaign, for political reasons. The same thing, it's a product. So if we speak about political campaigns, let's have more of these. This is coming from a commercial site again. This sentence speaks about a camera. So is it a positive sentence or whatever?
It's not positive, it's not negative.
It is positive. It could be different if it's not was in a commercial website because it just said some facts. But if you see it in a page that speaks about cameras, the faster shutter speed means a shorter exposure time. This is very good for cameras. Okay? So it's positive. It's a positive reaction to the product. Okay? But again, if it was just somewhere not in the product of a camera, it's indifferent. Now let's see couples of sentences describing the same event. One terrorist was eliminated in a joint operation in. Positive, negative? No, it's very positive. This is very, very positive. We just killed in a joint operation a terrorist. He's very happy. But the same event could be described also a freedom fighter was murdered by the invading army in. Okay? Now notice that a terrorist became a freedom fighter. Eliminated is a nice word for killing, but murder is a very negative word for this, right? This is joint operation, and this is invading army. So there is nothing here about words like I put before, bad, good, pleasant, you need to understand that freedom fighter is the way that some people will refer to what other people refer to terrorists, okay? So it's making it harder to understand the sentiment if you're not aware of this, okay? Again, a kid was killed by a policeman. This is a positive or negative?
Negative.
Of course, it is negative. We don't want to kill kids. This is the same event. Those are real. Go internet, okay? A dangerous criminal was neutralized before he could act. Okay? Neutralized.
No, kid was the dangerous.
It was a dangerous criminal, yes.
Kid can be 20 years old.
Okay. And
19.
Okay? If a kid, even 15, it's his first it is 100th robbery, armed robbery, when it is a dangerous criminal, although it's a kid, right? So again, it depends on the way, on the perspective, on the way to look at it. This makes, of course, the technology work harder in order to understand. This is why it's much easier to do it for product or commercial products. It's going to be much harder for political aspects because you need to know those nuances. Okay, questions? Sentiment analysis is used for political opinions nowadays. Many parties are using it, and also in the world, people are using it for tracking government policy, to understand what is going on about politicians and candidates. And before you would like to change your policy, then you can start publishing, collect the atmosphere and the sentiment, and decide whether you would like to go there or not. Many try to use this sentiment analysis basically in order to try to predict the election results, just tracking sentiment in many websites and understand what are what is the atmosphere for this specific candidate, and then to try to predict whether this candidate is going to win or not. But we should think about selection bias, and I'm going to speak about polls and election polls in one of our next lessons. Questions? I started by speaking about influence operation. So I'm not going to focus today about influence operation. I said I'm going to repeat this later on, but just to give you some idea of what I'm speaking about. Sentiment analysis can be used for influence because people are using now influence operation or just publications in order to manipulate voters. One of the very known case is the Cambridge Analytica data scandal that was about 5 years ago. People understand that Cambridge Analytica collected a lot of information, political information about 80 million voters in order to analyze it. I'm going to speak about it again when I'm going to speak about privacy. Understanding and monitoring the atmosphere and attitude in social engineering, forums, etc., and trying to understand the influence on public opinion. Meaning, I don't want only to just to have a campaign. I need to understand whether my campaign is working. So I'm going to start my campaign, and then I'm going to track the atmosphere where I spreaded it to see if my wording and my idea actually got good sentiment or not. And then I can now navigate and continue my campaign. Also, I will define, when I'm going to speak about link analysis, I'm going to define what is an influencer, but probably you know. And if I'm going to use for my operation an influencer, then I need to track the influencer account, because if for some reason the atmosphere or the attitude towards this influencer is changing, then it's going to be very bad news for my campaign. Okay, so I need to make sure that if I'm going to use this influencer is going to deliver. Okay, so I need, again, sentiment analysis to track the feed of this influencer to make sure that my campaign is on track. Questions? So this is for this. I would like to take a few minutes to go over again the work that you need to do at the end of the session of this course. I promise that I'm going to go over it again after we had a bit more information. Just a moment. Screen sharing has stopped. Okay. Don't know why. Just a moment. Okay. Let's share the Zoom again. Sorry. Let's see, I'm sharing the right screen. I'm not sure. Not this. Just a moment. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so in this assignment, you are asked to choose a research question relevant to what we learned in class. You should find and analyze 2 to 3 academic articles. Emphasis here is about academic, okay, not newspapers, that are relevant to one of the following topics: impact of AI on managing bilateral conflicts in the cyber age. And I spoke about cyber operation, the cyber warfare. And also I spoke today, and I'm going to continue to speak about influence operation, okay? And also bilateral conflicts could be also considered as the impact of AI on the future conventional battlefield. If you recall, this was my topic last week. There is a movie that I didn't show you yet. I thought to do it today, but I'm not sure we have time. Then we'll do it later. Maybe, or you can just watch it because everything is in the movie. You can speak about the implication of AI on citizen-state relationship. I'm going to refer to these topics later in this course, but we can speak about the chatbots here of governments, about the surveillance, etc., etc. The arms race between the powers in the field of AI. I'm going to speak about this later in the course. Or other topic of your choice that does not fall under those 4, but you have to approve it with me. In the course, we have discussed various techniques of AI. So by now, we already covered several of them. And we cover classification, clustering, anomaly detection, basket analysis, reinforcement learning, rule-based systems, genetic algorithms, image, and text. Of course, you'll have at the end a slide that everything is listed, but we covered many of them by now. Their application in different fields. You are required to refer to at least 2 different AI applications. And again, I would like to emphasize application is an end application, as I explained before with the knife. That appear in the articles you have chosen, and to analyze at least 3 different AI techniques of the list that I said that have been presented in this course. For example, to refer to the use of 1 technique for the first application and 2 additional techniques for the second application. For instance, you can speak about something in the battlefield, then you speak about application of robots or fighting robots, then you need to probably to refer to reinforcement learning, which is relevant to fighting robots, okay? The selected application techniques must be clearly stated at the beginning of your work. This is for you. I find out that to make sure that you know what you're doing, it's best that you put it at the beginning. You are not expected to draw precise technological conclusion, but to analyze feasibility consideration, as I do in those classes. Difficulties and the success potential, not guaranteed, of using this technique to enable the relevant application goal based on what I'm saying in class or you found on the on the articles. In addition, you should discuss the implication of these applications on cyber. And as you can see, I am discussing cyber implication of many things and different relevant government and political aspects. And I'm going to speak about this later also in the course. Of course, depending on the topic you have chosen. When I spoke about battlefields, robotic battlefields, I also mentioned that there are other considerations, what is going to do to the war, etc., etc. This is what I'm asking you to speak about. Please note that the path of your analysis, as part of your analysis, you are expected to present your personal views. However, it is important to clearly separate your personal views and article summarization. The only thing you are required here is to say, I think that, or in my view, it. Okay, that's it. Questions? General requirements, there is the paper of a CPG guideline document. I uploaded it. Please follow it. The required scope of work is between 14 and 1600 words. Does not include, of course, the references. You cannot do below or above, okay? You must be in this range. You need to add a cover page, and the most important thing in the cover page is the word length of the paper, and compare it to see that it falls between 1400 and 1600. If not, you're going to get fewer points. And this is font, and I don't like footnotes, but not for the references, of course. For the references, you need footnotes, not avoid other footnotes. Question on this?
Example, what do you mean like other footnotes?
Many people in social science like to write something and then at the bottom to put a footnote that about this size, and the text is this and the footnote is that.
From I have to cite myself here.
Mm-hmm.
With a footnote about something I wrote.
In your paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so I think that in order to have a clear paper, everything should be written in the text, not under the footnote. Okay.
You escape from the 14 to 1600 words.
It is going to be counted in the words count, and also that makes sense to me. Okay.
the reference also, which we don't count the reference.
No. Okay. Questions? So let's switch to the seminar one. Basically, the guidelines are very similar, but if you would like to have a seminar, you must approve it with me in advance and no later than a month before the end of semester, meaning mid-May, a month from now. So now it's time to really consider if you would like to write a seminar in this course. If so, approach me before mid-May, okay? A good research question for your paper should meet the following criteria. It should be interesting, okay? You can locate at least 12 academic references to base your work on. It is possible to do, quite a lot of students did it in recent semesters. Not, as I said in previous semester, that it was a real challenge. Here, there are good papers that people that are not technological can find and use. It falls under the following topics, and those are the same topics that I just covered, so I'm not going to write again. The guidelines, as I said, are almost the same, but now, of course, this is a bigger paper, so longer. So you need at least 5 different applications and to analyze at least 2 relevant AI techniques for each. Now, it could be the same tool for all of them, but I'm not sure if it's really feasible. I don't count how many different techniques you are going to use, as long as you have two, at least for each of the applications. The same here, I'm not going to go over it. Okay, so here the guidelines of the CPG are more important because they also structure the way that the paper should look like. As I said, it's longer, 6K to 7K words, does not include references as before, and that's the same thing. Questions about the seminar?
Do we need to separate it by chapters?
It's as in the CPG guidelines. The structure is the detailed there.
In the topics that you put in both cases, you put only things that are including government and security. Can we do something like from industry, from commercial side, from financial side?
Well, it's social science program, so you have to get.
No, I mean AI implementation in AI in finance.
Yes, but you need to speak about how it affects people. Because we are in a social science program.
Okay. Okay.
This is the program. So you can think about ways how industrial prosperity or making it better can benefit whatever. Think about it. I don't say that it's impossible, but it is difficult, yes, because we are in social science. So I'm speaking about either bilateral or governments and people. Okay? More questions?
The document code, is it CPG guidelines?
It's on the model. I put it in the model. Yes,
You
yes.
put it on the model. Okay.
Yes, everything in the model, the guidelines, those.
So that probably. So we need to look it.
No. I put it. It's called yes, it's version 2. Maybe there's also version 3. I don't know. I put version 2, which looks nice. You have to follow this one. Okay, so I put it in my course model.
Can you add example of previous seminar work?
No, because the what?
Brackets.
One by one? No, because I think there are privacy restrictions from the university. So no, I can and I don't know how they did it, okay? Because I know that I cannot share. I think at the end of last semester, I show you briefly. This I can do. But about topics, yes, I can tell you. It's very easy because I am speaking in the class on topics because AI bilateral conflicts. I'm speaking about cyber operations, okay? So you can think about cyber defense or cyber attack. I'm speaking about influence, and there are many AI applications on influence. Conventional battlefield, people speak about Navy, about Air Forces, whatever is more you like more. AI in citizen state, we can speak about law, about police working. I am going to speak about those topics later in the course, and also about government services to citizens. There are many applications nowadays falls under this, okay?
That's human rights aspect.
Of course.
With the AI.
I am going to touch them when I'm going to speak about privacy. I am going to speak about the clash between the need for data and human rights. I'm going to speak about it.
That the usage of AI on the human rights that can harm, for example.
Yes, and also I'm going to cover the issue of is AI racist? I'm going to speak about it and give you examples of it and claim that no, but absolutely no. But let's wait for this session. Okay, but I am going to speak about those aspects. I'm not going to leave you without it. Okay. More questions? Okay. See you after Passover. Happy Passover.
רוצים לרוץ.
בשיעור הבא בזום.